Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come my brother, come my sister, let us work hand in hand to build a better nation together. I want to welcome you to the Hub. Again, we have a moment in time to deliberate, to discuss, to talk, using radio and social media to connect. My name is Kem Jones. Tonight, I want us to look deeper into the rhetoric coming from Dwight Horsford. He was the missing man. For quite a while, we didn't hear about him. We didn't see him. He returned from one of those smaller islands. I think he was the Attorney General there. He returned to Grenada, and I want to believe he thought he was going to be made, given, or appointed, or elected the leader of the NNP. In fact, there was a lot of rumors abound that he was going to get the nod. But little do my good friend Dwight know, or at the time knew, it was just a boogie trap. So he was downgraded and placed in the Senate. I missed him on the stage of the NNP for quite a while. So he resurrected or reappeared, and he had this to say, because it seems as though the NNP is zeroing in on cost of living, but they're not telling you what they will do to bring the cost of oil down, or to bring the cost of Irish potato down, or to bring the cost of butter down, or cheese down. They're not telling you how they would bring it down. But they're calling on the government. They're saying to the government, it's high, bring it down. That is what they're saying. But they want to come into government. They're not telling you how they would bring it down. So Horsey, as I would call him, had this to say at the NNP recent meeting.
Almost everything going up. Almost every staple. Oil is going up or has gone up. Sugar, cheese, butter, milk, chicken parts, potatoes, just going up. And when we ask our government to do something to ease the burden on our people, they send out a battalion of their hitmen on social media to tell you that government can't do everything. But we're not asking government to do everything. We're asking government to do something.
Right. So that's Dwight Horsford. So let's take it a little slower. So he mentioned some items there. So let's take it a little slower. We could write down the items because we're learning.
Almost everything going up. Almost every staple. Oil is going up or has gone up. Sugar, cheese, butter, milk, chicken parts, potatoes, just going up. And when we ask our government to do something to ease the burden on our people.
Right. So you heard he spoke about oil, he spoke about sugar, he spoke about cheese, he spoke about butter, he mentioned milk, he mentioned chicken parts, he mentioned potatoes, and he's referring to the Irish potatoes. Folks, we don't produce oil, the oil that he's referring to. We don't produce that in Grenada. We don't produce sugar in Grenada. We don't produce cheese in Grenada. We don't produce butter in Grenada. We don't produce milk in Grenada. Most of the chicken that we consume, they come from outside. And the potatoes that he referred to, Irish potato, I think the government is exploring the planting of that if they have not done so as yet. But the majority of things that he spoke about, they are not produced here. And mind you, the government is doing a lot to bring down the cost of quite a number of goods. Remember, they are VAT exempted goods. Huh? The NDC administration removed VAT on quite a number of goods, including oil that he's talking about. So the government is not collecting any taxes on oil.
With the continued rise in cost of living being felt globally, government is putting measures in place, as Prime Minister Honorable Dickon Mitchell highlighted, to shield citizens from the devastating impact of high prices, especially on food, fuel, and other necessities. Effective February 2023, a number of food and other items will be exempted from VAT, with a review to be conducted by December of 2023. That announcement came Monday during Prime Minister Mitchell's budget delivery.
Items include 1. Soya chunks, 2. Veggie patties, 3. Olive oil, 4. Canola oil, 5. Soybean oil, 6. Sunflower oil, 7. Coconut oil, 8. Red kidney beans, 9. Black eyed peas, 10. Lentil peas, 11. Hand sanitizers, 12. Adult diapers, 13 baby diapers, 14 toothpaste, 15 toilet paper, 16 bathing soap, 17 laundry soap, 18 sanitary napkins, and 19 condoms.
The exemption of VAT on these items is also aligned with government's policy to support healthy eating. And
Right. So he can't say that the government has not done anything. So the government of Grenada not collecting VAT since 2023, somewhere thereabout, on these items. So they are zero rated. They are not attracting VAT. But we don't produce it here. So when they come into the country, they already have a set price. One, if it comes from the United States, a 10% tariff will be on it even before it arrives here. We don't produce these things here. But he's speaking there as though the government is not doing anything about it. But the government is doing a lot to help our people, to ease up the pressure on our people. And I'm going to play again a piece for you.
Minister Lennox Andrews, in his contribution to the 2025 estimates of revenue and expenditure, reiterated that the Ministry of Agriculture is fully supported as one of the main economic pillars to national development.
We recognize the importance of having food security after burial. And we have in the ministry this World Bank finance $10 million US food security project. Mr. Speaker, that project give strong support for livestock production. I'll talk about that just now, including poultry, pigs, goat, and sheep, together with the infrastructure for them. That's one component. That project will provide farm machinery and equipment. And that project also provide for high quality planting materials and support to our fisher folks. 17,500 chicks and starter, grower, and finisher feeds were distributed to over 700 poultry farmers.
Minister Andrew further outlined the ministry's plans for the reproduction of the purebred animals, which, during the first phase, will see selected and trained livestock farmers benefiting.
75 livestock rearers in Grenada is going to receive one animal, which they're going to use to breed with their locals. So after a 3-year period, we should have enough pig, goat, and sheep in our country to feed ourselves and to have for export. That is the plan.
Despite several challenges in 2024, including a prolonged period of drought, the passage of Hurricane Beryl, and an intense wet season, agricultural development continues to receive priority support from government.
3 farm roads, Barwick Farm Road in St. Patrick, the one in Bacolet, and the stand-up road in St. Mark's, they are being rehabilitated right now. In the area of Pedialasani, 6 motorbikes and 500 security cameras have been procured. And right now we are interviewing 40 new staff to be recruited to improve the effectiveness of the Pedialasani program. Mr. Speaker, the farm machinery pool in Maribor, and we're going to make Maribor the center for excellence in agriculture in this country. The design and specification of 4 cold storage units are being prepared, and they're going to use renewable energy technology. And that is to help reduce food waste and post-harvest loss, as well as to improve the quality of our agriculture that we produce.
The minister. So it's not that the government is not doing anything about the high cost of living, because the high cost of living is not only impacting Grenada, it's impacting all countries around the world. But the government is doing a lot to help cushion the impact of high cost of living. I remember a number of farmers, they received chicks. I remember a number of them received chicks. My neighbor received some. And, you know, they were able to, they have to grow that and take care of it. They got feed and other things like that. And then they can sell and continue.
Continuing with support to poultry farmers across the island, the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources, under the poultry aspect of Component 4 of its World Bank-funded Food Security Enhancement Project, handed over nearly 2,000-day-old chicks to over 100 backyard farmers. The event, which took place recently at the Botanical Gardens, also included a donation of starter feed to support the farmers and will continue throughout the entire life cycle of the birds to ensure their proper nourishment and survival. The chicks were handed over to the farmers by Permanent Secretary Isaac Bagwan and Livestock Coordinator Nugent Bernard. In his remarks, P.S. Bagwan emphasized the ministry's ongoing support for backyard farmers, highlighting the importance of the initiative in ensuring their long-term sustainability.
Under the World Bank Food Security Project, we would have targeted at least 50 farmers. They would have received approximately 17,750 chickens, day-old chicks, boilers, that is, so that they could enhance their operation, increase their productivity, and of course have fresh chicken available for the consuming public. As Mr. Bernard would have mentioned, we also targeted the backyard farmers, which is yourself. We know that you are not large scale, but we felt that, of course, because you are involved in providing food for your own self and of course your family and neighbors, that we should also provide some support.
Bagwan noted that this initiative marks the beginning of Grenada's efforts to reduce poultry imports and boost local production for domestic consumption.
The reality is that the chicken is one of the main protein source for us in Grenada, and the vast majority, in fact upwards of 90% of the chicken that we consume is imported. We want to change that dynamic. We want to be able to get into the market, and our target is about at least 30% within the next 3 years in terms of our production level, and of course to lift the nutritional content of the meat that we consume. Of course, the meat that we import, that is the chicken, sometimes we're not sure how long they have been on freezer, but these chickens that we are doing here are indeed probably the freshest that you could get in this regard, and I may dare say much more healthier.
Livestock Coordinator Nugent Bernard urged the farmers to use the donation as a starting point to expand their production.
Now, our expectation is, after you would have received this chicken, which is like a drum start, you will get the feed, you will get all of the chicken, all of the feed to go with it, so that the feed you receive today is only the broiler starter, right? Within a week and a half time, we are going to call you again, make an arrangement so that you can pick up the broiler grower. And then a week after again, we call you again, make the arrangement to pick up the broiler finisher, right? Now, we're hoping that through this initiative, you would continue that process to make it sustainable. All right, so we want to see, so that when I come back doing the assessment of the 100 persons getting this assistance, we want to make sure that 100% is still continue growing the little backyard for your own family sustenance. And if you want to get bigger, then this is the stepping stone.
During the right, so it's not that the government is not doing anything. So you see those guys go on the NNP platform, and they are uninformed or intentionally wicked, seeking to mislead the public, seeking to mislead their supporters and people generally. So the government also have this national hatchery for the first time.
Grenada's agricultural sector has reached a new milestone with the establishment of the country's first government-led national hatchery, officially launched at Maribor St. Andrew. Housed in the repurposed Maribor boxing plant, the facility represents an investment of over EC $1.5 million and is expected to revolutionize local poultry production. The hatchery, developed through a public-private partnership between the Government of Grenada and ADM Caribbean Agro, aims to reduce the country's dependency on imported day-old chicks, a practice that has long posed cost and welfare challenges. Marva Kalist, representative of ADM Caribbean Agro, provided details on the collaboration and expressed confidence in the initiative's ability to support local farmers and improve poultry farming infrastructure across the island.
So we are very happy to be a part of this initiative and involved in this project. We think it's a great step forward, and we are hopeful that it would help to grow the poultry sector and support farmers in Grenada. It can make a real difference for our agriculture and food security on the island and regionally as a whole.
Acting Chief Agricultural Officer Thaddeus Peters underscored the financial impact of the facility, noting that the hatchery will significantly cut down on poultry-related imports and the associated shipping cost. This, he said, will make poultry production more sustainable and cost-effective for local farmers.
When this project is completed, there will be more reliability. We can have confidence in the quality of the chicks that we produce, and the cost will certainly be something that we can be comfortable with.
Chief Veterinary and Livestock Officer Dr. Kimon Cummings also welcomed the move, highlighting the improvement in animal welfare. According to Dr. Cummings, the transportation of day-old chicks over long distances has posed a serious health and stress risk to the birds, issues the hatchery will now help to eliminate.
And over the years, we've had a lot of complaints with farmers that has lost a lot of birds through the excess traveling and the extra stress. Some of these birds, quite honestly, they take quite a while to settle down and get themselves back together again.
Minister for Agriculture, Honorable Lennox Andrews, described the hatchery as a strategic investment in Grenada's food security and economic independence. He said the facility will not only increase local poultry production, but also create employment opportunities and stimulate economic growth within the parish and beyond.
With the construction of this hatchery, we now in Grenada will be able to produce our own chicks that would go into our chicken farms and produce the birds that we need to consume. And obviously, if we produce them here, it means that we are one step closer to achieving our economic independence.
While a private hatchery continues to operate out of Felix Park, St. Andrew, the new national hatchery marks a bold and progressive leap forward, signaling the government's commitment to strengthening Grenada's agricultural framework and reducing reliance on foreign imports.
Yes, because I recall many farmers would be by farmer's garden or farm and garden, and they would have to put in the order way in advance because most of the birds or chicks will come from Barbados, right? And he has to come to Grenada or Miami. So the government is doing things to ease up the burden. Cost of living is affecting all countries all around the world. So when Dwight Horsford speaks or says all his nonsense, sometimes we have to just like laugh because he seems uninformed.
Government has imported over 460 purebred livestock from the United States, valued at approximately $4 million, as part of the implementation of Component 4 of the Food Security Enhancement Project. The shipment, which arrived via an Amerijet flight at the Maurice Bishop International Airport on Saturday night, included 322 sheep and goats, as well as 144 pigs. These animals were acquired from a national breeding program, which will be operated at facilities in Laura in St. David, Maribor, St. Andrew, and Satea, St. Patrick. Under this component of the project, direct support will be provided to 25 pig farmers who will receive facility upgrades and 1 breeding boar each, and 25 small ruminant farmers, both sheep and goats, who will receive facility upgrades and at least 1 breeding buck or ram.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources is implementing a series of measures aimed at mitigating the impact of Hurricane Beryl on Grenada's food security. In addition to the extensive land clearing support provided to farmers post-Beryl, the Ministry of Agriculture is also on an intense drive to increase the volume of planting materials made available to farmers. Details in this report.
Mindful of the severe loss and in some instances the overall destruction of farmlands, the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources is on a massive drive to ensure that planting material will be readily available as Grenada embarks on rebuilding the agricultural sector hard hit by Hurricane Beryl.
Definitely for our estates, for the 100 acres, the 50 acres, I would say anything from 5 acres and up. We have to strategically look to do replanting, but we must not do the mistakes we made in the past. This has been an event that affected and really is a disaster level event. But it gives us an opportunity to literally start from scratch, as they say, and do it properly. So we must replant with agro-industry in mind.
I am Dr. Jem Thomas Barry, the country representative for Grenada at the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute. We currently face several challenges in the agriculture sector, particularly as it relates to pests and diseases, limited planting material, inconsistent quality, and even sometimes, even at our propagation stations, we have limited space as well.
and the establishment of a tissue culture unit which more or less will produce clean, disease-free planting material, and it does so at a relatively faster time in comparison to our local, or what I should say, our traditional vegetative propagation technique. What will happen is that in our farming community, they will now be placed, have access to clean and disease-free planting material. Also because tissue culture is more or less produce plantets which are genetically uniform, it means that the material that they get will have a consistent type of quality. So you have now clean planting material going out in the field, so they have access to that, as well as with that material that they have, they can produce crops now at a faster rate. Being tissue culture material, they are less prone to diseases because you're starting off with clean planting material. It will mean that there's less disease prevalence present in the field, so less chemical inputs being put in by farmers. Better for our health as well. Well as because it's again, remember I talk about it being uniform, meaning that you have the same quality consistency throughout each plantlet. You have farmers now getting product that could meet market consistency and quality. So it's a really good game changer, I would say, for our farming sector, and I think it's an initiative that will help enhance the productivity of the sector. So we had some success, but we also had some challenges as relates to diseases, and with such an initiative taking place, we are hoping that that can help facilitate we producing our own locally clean planting material, which will help maybe even improve the sector as relates to producing Irish potatoes here locally in Green.
Right. So he spoke about Irish potatoes, right? Right. He spoke about that. So the government is actually on a drive to produce Irish potatoes right here. Yes, we produce sweet potatoes, but they're on a drive to do just that. And you heard it from the doctor herself. So it seems as though the NNP speakers and members, they're uninformed, or they're intentionally wicked, seeking to spread misinformation or disinformation, and they do so openly. I am saying, before you go on a platform, you need to be knowledgeable. You need to have the facts. So you call in on government to do something, or do what he said, some whatever he said there, what he said.
Almost everything going up. Almost every staple. Oil is going up, or has gone up. Sugar, cheese, butter, milk, chicken parts, potatoes, just going up. And when we ask our government to do something to ease the burden on our people, they send out a battalion of the hitmen on social media to tell you that government can't do everything. But we're not asking government to do everything. We're asking government to do something.
Right, so he's saying that they're not asking government to do everything, but they're asking government to do something. So the government is at work. The government is working diligently to help the farmers so that they can produce enough to supply the domestic market. And we need to start to educate our children, educate our friends, educate our household on what is healthy, what is a good stuff to eat. He spoke about sugar. Sugar is not good. Sugar is not healthy. Sugar is not healthy. He spoke about cheese. Cheese is not healthy. No, I'm saying that people use it, but it's not healthy. Butter is not healthy, and especially what we consume, right? Milk also, that's not healthy. Milk is not healthy. You could jump high, jump low. In fact, we're the only mammals to be consuming milk all at what? After 6 months of coming on the face of the earth. You 6 years, you're still consuming milk. You 20 years, you're still consuming it. But if you look at the cows, you'll realize that, yes, they produce the milk, but even when you have the calves, they don't consume the milk. They don't breastfeed for a very long time. They don't. And if you look at other animals, they really don't breastfeed for a long time. They get off the milk, right? You know, milk, it encourages the mucus and other things like that in your body. But I am not a nutritionist, but I am simply saying, these are not healthy stuff, but we consume them, but we don't produce them here. I could see if we producing them here. It's something totally different. So what we are trying to do, or what the government is trying to do, is produce the local stuff so the price will go down. If you realize, when there's a lot of watermelon, the price goes down. A lot of tomatoes, the price goes down. Or the price will drop significantly. Cucumbers, same thing. Lettuce, pak choy, even citrus. If you have a lot of citrus, same thing. The price will go down. So the government is assisting the farmers so that they can plant enough so that the price will be reasonable. I'm saying the government is doing stuff to help with cost of living. But the majority of things that Dwight Hosford spoke about, we don't produce them here in Grenada. And when they come into the country, they already come with a markup. They already come with a price. You see? So it's not that the government could say, take out this on it, take out that on it. Because many of those items, they're already zero rated when it comes to VAT. So the NNP, they seem to be going on a platform without knowledge. They don't follow news. They don't follow what the government is doing. And they don't care. But they would go on a platform, they would talk about high cost of living, and really and truly, they would not highlight the things that the government is doing to bring down the high cost of living. Because to them, that is not their concern. But to go and complain and run down the government and talk the country bad, they're good at that. I'm saying cost of living is a problem all around the world. But the government of Grenada is not guilty of failing to do things to bring it down or to cushion the impact on families. And let me say this further. When I talk about families and cushioning the impact, when the government increase the amount of money given to seed recipients, the poor relief assistance, because you have households where you have one person receiving $500 and the other person receiving $3. So in a household with two persons collecting the poor relief assistance, one will get $500 and one will get $3. The government increased that to make it $500. It was not so before, right? When the government increased the salaries of public officers, giving them 13% increase over a 3-year period, 4%, 4%, 5%. That too is helping when it comes to cost of living. They have more money to spend. They're able to take care of themselves and their family. When the government paid pension, immediately that 500 and something pensioners, they were lifted out of poverty because many of them were considered to be the working poor. And when they retired, they went right back into poverty because the government was not paying them their pension. when the government provided that, paid them their pension, that too impacted cost of living positively for them. They have more money to spend. Every month they're collecting a certain amount of money as a pension. So they're able to buy things comfortably. When the government regularized public officers, making them permanent, they are paying them retroactively, right? And then they have more money to spend because they're permanent now. Their grade is normalized, so they're getting more money on their salary. That too helps. When the government adjusted the minimum wage, the NNP never adjusted the minimum wage. The NDC came into power and they adjusted the minimum wage. So the security officer used to get $4 an hour, now gets $9.25 an hour. The cook gets more money. The cleaner gets more money. The housekeeper gets more money. The gardener gets more money. The laborer gets more money. The bus driver gets more money. The bus conductor gets more money. The ordinary simple worker is now getting more money. That too is helping them to cushion the impact. The doctors are getting $1,000 more on their salary. That too is helping them. The nurse gets $500 more on her salary. That too is helping. The police officer who got the pay and grade adjustment, getting $700 and something more on their salary. So you see, when Dwight Horsford and the others on the NNP camp or platform talk about cost of living, they're not telling you about these things. They're not telling you about the things that the government is doing to cushion the impact. Because all around the world, prices are going up. People can tell you, those in the United States of America, Canada, right? In fact, if I open the line at this point for folks to call me to speak about the prices of goods overseas and the prices of goods here, and maybe I'll open up the line. Folks, you can call. The number to call is 1-473-538-0933. So you can add me to WhatsApp, and that's the number that you can use to reach me live, to get on the radio and on the program live. It's scrolling under the live program now. 1-473-538-0933. If you want to call, you can. Tell us about the prices, because I know you monitor the prices on the shelves in the United States, in Canada, in Trinidad, in Barbados, right? In the United Kingdom. I'm saying cost of living is not only in Grenada. It's across hemispheres, it's across continents, it's across everywhere. All countries are trying their best with all the wars that's happening around the world, with all the tariffs being imposed, right, on countries by the United States. So you know, prices will increase. So the government here is doing a lot to cushion that impact. But the NNP, they still would go on platforms and give people the impression that things are so bad here. But folks, I would love to hear from you. The number again is 538-0933. If you're overseas and you want to add the number to WhatsApp, you can, because you can reach me on WhatsApp. You can call via WhatsApp. 538-0933. If you have to add me on WhatsApp, you have to add 1473. Our code, our local code. 1473-538-0933. I would love to hear from you. We're talking cost of living. We're talking prices of goods. We're talking, government doing things to help the farmers. Let's take this first call. Let me take this call here first. Good evening. Hello.
Yes, Cam.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, man. How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up this because I was talking to someone back home yesterday, and I was telling them that I saw the same thing with this guy, and I was telling her that little do people know that the prices of everything is gone up because
Right. Hello? Hello?
yeah,
Yes, we're hearing you now. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I was telling a cousin of mine when I saw Horsford speaking this foolishness, and I said that you could have gone to the grocery store here a year ago with $300, $400, and you'd come out with your trunk and your back seat full of grocery. Now you're walking out with two plastic bags for the same money of groceries. Things have skyrocketed all over.
And you're
And
referring
when
to
I was
Canada. You're referring to Canada.
to Canada, yeah.
Yes.
And when I was home last year for the independence, I was walking on High Street in Sotes and I saw certain items and I turned to my wife and I said, wait, look at the price of a tin of Milo and look at the price of this. I said, it is cheaper here than it is in Canada. And the lady said she's told some people that. So people tend to have the belief that the Grenada is so expensive. And I look at a lot of things there, a lot of things. Even a roti, you get in Grenada for how much dollars? When you compare it and you do the equivalent here, it is like 1.5 times, 2 times more expensive here than it is in Grenada. So people have to look at these things in that way. And I noticed that a lot of them are talking about, I saw Emily speaking about the price of goods and mixing up what tariff is. Canada was hit, I think, with a 33% in tariff, and you have 10%. And they are making a whole hip law about it. Salt fish and smoked herring here is way more expensive than it is for a pound in Grenada. And I know because when I go, I compare those things. And I speak with a lot of people, especially with the Grenada groups, and they all concur to the same thing. So they have to look at this thing from a more realistic place. And as you rightfully said, with
Right. Hello?
it
Hello?
cut down the cost of food in Grenada once it's being produced back home. So we have to look at it from that way. And
All right.
these people have to educate the people the right way instead of trying to mess up the minds. This is not good, and it doesn't look good for us in a international on the international scale.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
One love. Thank you very much, Jay Kola. Well said. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah. And look, Grenadians are resilient, but we are also smart people. If the price of goods are going up, you have your backyard. We have to start planting some more, right? It doesn't take a lot. We have fertile soil. In fact, I believe if you put a seed on a piece of concrete and a little rain start falling, it may even grow there and produce something if just a little bit of soil happen to fall over it. But I'm saying we have to teach our people how to survive in this time. You go to one of those nursery and you purchase, let's say, 6 plants in this, 6 in this, 6 in that, 6 in that, and you plant in your backyard. And it will ease up the burden on you. In 6 weeks' time, you have something being produced there, or 2 months, or 3. I'm saying we need to start teaching our people those things because Grenada is not isolated. We are part of this global village. And many of these things that we see on the shelves, we don't produce it. We don't produce these things. And the local stuff is always better, way better. In fact, just a weekend, I took some, we call it swivel orange, right? Or civil orange or whatever they call it. But it's the yellowy one inside, right? Yellow or orangey in color. And when I squeeze that, I don't need to put sugar in it. It's already sweet. And it's a nice orangey color with a really good flavor. And we have a lot of that around this time. So we have to kind of, teach our people that we can be tactical and strategic, even at home. Even at home, we can do certain things to ease up the burden. We talk about fishing. We can spend time on a piece of rock or by the bay. We can fish and supply the home for the week. And you can, kind of mix it, fish, chicken. So there are things that we can do because majority of the stuff that they are talking about, we don't produce it here. We don't. And the prices, they come marked up. The importer or that business place already know what it would cost, what the price is. So the NNP, all they do is talk about cost of living, high price of this and high price of that, but they're not telling you how they will bring it down. They're not telling you any plan, any strategy, any recommendation, any suggestion, anything that they would do to get the prices down, unless they start producing it in their house, right? And selling it to our people. That's maybe the only thing that they can do. But where would they get the raw materials from? So it's easy to talk. It's easy to say certain things. So Dwight Horsford on a platform saying all those stuff, and you wonder, this guy should be knowledgeable enough to know better. But they go on this platform every Wednesday or so, and all they do is just lie, misinform. But they have to understand that Grenadians are smarter. And we are living in a period of technology. So you can't fool people easily. But folks, I would love to hear from you. You go to the supermarkets, you go to the shops, you're out there, you watch the prices. Someone was saying earlier what they used to pay for sardine 6 months ago, a year ago, compared to now, it gone up. What they used to pay for milk and sugar and butter and all these different things in the United States, in Canada, in the United Kingdom. And remember, because we don't produce these things here, we get it from those sources. So the prices will increase and we can't do anything about it because the government, for many of those things, they're not even collecting VAT on them. So look, we have to adjust. We have to make some adjustments to survive, to make it in this period. But the NNP, every Wednesday, what they do is complain. What they do is grind and groan. That is what they do. Because they want you, the unsuspecting, those who are not too knowledgeable of what's going down, they want to fool you, they want to trick you into believing all these Nancy stories, all this nonsense. Because they believe if they get you to start thinking like them or thinking that things are hard, thinking that cost of living is so high and problems, then they believe that would motivate you to go to the polls and vote for them. But they have not said to you how they would adjust this, how they would fix this, how they would make life better for you. They are not telling you that. They are not telling you how they're going to bring down the cost of this and bring down the cost of that. All they do, they come and they tell you, this is the problem and this is the this and da 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 da. And you now get riled up, fired up, and so on. And then you run to the polls supporting them. But they have not said to you up to this day, what are their plans? What is your 5-point plan to bring down the high cost of living? What will you do if we give you power to bring down the cost of living? You're telling us about cost of living, but we know it's high all around the world. What would you do differently to bring down the cost of living? I would love to know. But they would not say that. All right? Folks, a little update on Cloget. I saw a little piece done on Cloget, and I was really happy.
I'm here representing FCSL Construction Company. Just giving you an update of where we are at the site right now. We have been able to contain the water, right, with the blocks and gravel boulder filtered with some pipes. So the bank has been stopped. Right now we are at the last stage because we control the mud from sliding. So we're just waiting on some height from the ministry to make the last pour. I think we're on track to finishing the project almost on schedule. We have a little delay based on the challenges with the water, but we're gonna be on schedule. We have a good community relationship with the people up here because mostly everything they ask for us to make things comfortable for them, we are able to provide it for them.
And that's good, but you would not hear the NNP talk about that. Panames every morning would give you the impression on the Plead Your Cause program when he calls in that things are so bad in Cloget and with the Cloget Road. You would not hear the NNP on their platform talk about the progress made by the contractor, local contractor, the progress made there in Cloget. All the NNP wants to do is to talk about bad things, paint the country bad, talk about bad stories. It's like, you know, in the days when there was no technology and there is somebody in the village who has to carry the bad news, and by the time you see the person coming up, you start to hold your head and say, oh, come, that person coming to tell me something bad. Something bad happened down there. Somebody died. Somebody sick. Somebody. That's the NNP. Nothing uplifting, nothing positive, nothing hopeful, nothing with vision and ambition, nothing like that. It's always bad news, bad stories, bad everything from the NNP. If you listen to their platform and what they're saying at their meetings, you have to wonder how they could be so negative, how they could be so, you know, it's just terrible. Folks, I want to wish my good friend Winston Paul and his wife happy anniversary. I know you all are celebrating. Big up your whole self, Winston Paul, a very hard worker with the NDC in Carriacou. He has always been there, thick and thin, working very hard, he and his wife. So big up all your whole self. A happy anniversary to you. All right? Happy anniversary to you. Folks, I want to wish you all the best. Somebody told me it was their birthday now. Somebody told me it was their birthday. All right? Just can't remember the person sometime June today. That was their big day. They are strong. So I want to wish you all the best, folks. Take good care. I'll be back with you tomorrow, God's willing, starting from 8 in the a.m. to continue that mission. Also, folks, remember it's month end. We have to pay the bills to keep the program going. So if you are there, you follow the program, you listen to the program, I want to encourage you to give to the program financially to keep it going, to keep it on air, so that we can pay the bills and keep things going. All right? It's pledge time during this period. Those who receive a little WhatsApp message from me, you can respond via WhatsApp, yes or no. Sometimes you say yes, sometimes you say no, you can't afford this time wrong, sometimes you can afford, it goes, right? And those who listen maybe for the first time and you want to give something to the program, you can reach out to me. Most people know my WhatsApp number, 1473 415 4817 or 1473 403 1019. So you can reach out to me there. All right. So I want to wish you all the best. I'll be back with you tomorrow, God's willing, starting from 8 in the AM. Bye for now.